Our story opens today in a really ugly building in the really dreadful little country of Moosylvania, where the Supreme Council is faced with a serious problem.
Gentlemen, the Supreme Council is faced with a serious problem.
We already heard that, Anatole. Go on.
Yes, fearless leader. Well, it seems that our balance of payments analysis shows a marked trend toward deficiency prorating of reserves with a corresponding shift in debit allotment of fiduciaries and soft inventory assets.
Translation?
We're broke.
Broke. But last Tuesday, the treasurer said we had 80 million pazulas.
Ah, but last Tuesday we also had a treasurer.
You mean?
Yes, fearless leader. He took the 80 million and skipped the country.
Oh, that makes me so mad. I'm furious.
About the treasurer stealing the treasury?
No, about I didn't think of it first.
Well, that's how the check bounces, fearless leader.
This problem calls for special care, a high order of intelligence, extreme subtlety and finesse, a brilliant strategy.
And so?
I'll handle it myself. Achtung! Dismissed! Those fools! Little do they know the answer lies just behind this door. And here it is. Moosylvania's answer to Bernard Baruch, the advisor back.
Yes, there on a park bench sat a large black box with a number of flashing lights and a Hamburg hat on top. A Moosylvanian mechanical brain.
Tell me, dear old box, where can we find the money?
The machine whirred and clicked and suddenly deposited a small slip of paper in Fearless Leader's hand.
The United States? But how do we get it? Moosylvania, of course. Oh, Advisor Vac, what would I do without you? Drop dead?
And in a little while, Fearless Leader was closeted with that double-dyed villain, that prince of no-goods, that schlemiel.
Say the name.
Boris Badenov.
Badenov, you know why I've called you in on this job?
Because I'm trustworthy, loyal, brave, and efficient.
No, because you work cheap.
That too.
Badenov, do you know anything about Moosylvania?
Sure. My uncle came down with a bad case from it just last year.
No, you nitwit. Moosylvania is a spot on the globe.
That's what my uncle came down with, spots on the globe.
Badenov, I want you to watch this television program featuring the moose and the squirrel.
What I do? I didn't do nothing. What I do?
Quiet.
And here on the soggy shores of Moosylvania, we find our heroes Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose.
Boy, what a terrible place.
Only too true. Moosylvania is the wettest, soggiest, dreariest place on earth.
You forgot useless.
Useless, too. Situated directly between the United States and Canada, Moosylvania has the distinction of being constantly fought over by both countries. The U.S. insists it's part of Canada, and Canada insists it's part of the U.S.
Well, why do we come here on our vacation?
'Cause after 2 weeks in Moosylvania, any place else in the world seems like heaven.
Well, how does Fearless Leader plan to use Moosylvania to get money from the United States? And how does Boris fit into all this? And what will Advisovac say next? Oh, stop asking questions, loudmouth. The episode's over. Gee, so it is. Last time, you remember, the Advisovac told Fearless Leader that he could replenish the Moosylvanian treasury by getting money from the United States. And how? The magic word was Moosylvania.
Moosylvania, that's a pest hole, fearless leader. Send me to Devil's Island. Send me to Siberia. Send me to Wilkes-Barre. But not Moosylvania.
Now, Badenov, don't lose your head.
I'm not losing my head.
You will if you don't go to Moosylvania.
What time leaves the next submarine?
And so it was that just a few days later, as Rocky and Bullwinkle were fishing and slapping mosquitoes off the shoreline of Moosylvania, they were hailed by a cheery voice.
Hello, suckers.
What was that?
I said, hello, strangers.
Sounded different the first time.
My, what a magnificent catastrophe you got there. Is it yours?
Moosylvania? You betcha, mister. Been in the family for years.
Pity you don't do something with it.
Such as?
Advertise. You could make Moosylvania the Riviera of the swamps, and I could help you.
Who are you, mister?
Just the head of the biggest advertising agency in all northern Canada is whom.
What advertising agency is that?
Dancer, Prancer, Blitzen, and Fink.
Yeah, I've heard of those first three fellers, but who's Fink?
I'm Fink.
You could say that again, darling.
You mean you could really do something with Moosylvania?
Cool die. Body boy, I got plans you wouldn't believe it. Sign here.
Right.
Now, wait. What's all this fine print?
Give me that. You want to ruin your sweet little eyes? Now, first thing you do is go ashore on Moosylvania while we taking your picture.
Cajoled by Boris, our friends went ashore while he stayed on his submarine yacht and focused a camera on them.
Fine. Now, the next thing we're doing is taking this big rock and sink your boat.
Hey, wait a minute. Now we're marooned in Moosylvania.
See how it all works out? Well, bye now.
But I thought you were going to make Moosylvania famous.
Just you wait.
And for once in his life, Boris was as good as his word.
Better even.
For he spread the word that Rocky and Bullwinkle were marooned and in need of help.
Extra! Extra!
Of course, the nation sprang into emergency action at once. With typical American foresight, 14 tons of surplus wheat germ was rushed by freight car to the swampy area, where it promptly sank from sight. Undaunted, the government began to airlift supplies into Moosylvania. In less than a week, the tiny island was heaped with all kinds of vital emergency rations.
Let's see. Here's 2,000 gallons of maple syrup,
800 surplus goldfish bowls,
26 obsolete missiles.
32 million units of something.
What?
I don't know. The name got scratched off.
Well, whatever it is, we sure got plenty of it.
Hey, here's a coupon from Dr. Kildare. Good for an emergency appendix operation.
How thoughty.
Yeah, everybody's sure been nice. There's just one thing wrong, Bullwinkle.
Just one? That's a refreshing change. What is it?
Oh, this stuff is pretty heavy.
And?
I'm afraid the whole island of Moosylvania's sinking.
Yes, our friends were up to their knees in trouble.
And water.
Well, let's look on the bright side.
What's that?
The mosquitoes can't bite our ankles anymore.
Well, are we about to see our whole story go down the drain? Don't miss our next episode when we'll hear Rocky say... Well, Boris Badanov's efforts to make Moosylvania the world's most popular disaster area have really brought results.
Golly, Bullwinkle, we've got more emergency supplies than we know what to do with.
Yeah, here's 22 gross of emergency collar buttons. Now, if we only wore emergency collars,
Well, how about this? 46 tons of bubble gum. That's a lot.
More than I use in a week.
Yes, the kind-hearted citizens of the USA had made Moosylvania the dumping ground for every surplus item in the country. In fact, so much junk was piled up on the swampy soil of Moosylvania that the whole island began to sink.
Bullwinkle, I'm up to my knees in water.
You were expecting champagne?
Hadn't we better leave?
Leave Moosylvania? But, Rocky, I'm the governor.
Oh.
A good governor always goes down with his state.
So?
Natasha, you wouldn't believe it. That idiot Moose is going to drown himself.
And all the supplies too, darling.
Yeah, that's right. All the... Oh, boy. Those are our supplies.
Ours? But we haven't stolen them yet, Boris.
It's only a matter of crime, Natasha.
And if all that loot goes on the water, what will Fearless Leader say?
He'll say, you go underground, bad enough.
Funny, that's what I thought you'd say, dear old superior.
Bad enough you were supposed to steal all those supplies and send them to Potsylvania.
But Fearless Leader is not the right time yet.
Bad enough the island is loaded.
I tell you, it's not the right time.
And it's starting to sink.
It's still not the right time.
And if you don't get to work, you will be number one on the liquidation parade.
Now is the right time. Come, Natasha.
Mooring close to the soggy site, Boris and Natasha began swiping supplies and rowing them to their submarine yacht. But fast as they could steal, the island sank still faster. Meanwhile, Rocky was perched atop a 16-ton cement mixer, watching Bullwinkle, who was still determined to go down with his state.
Yeah, I'm a determined sinker, Rock.
You can say that again.
I don't think I dare.
There must be something I can do for you.
How about a rousing chorus of taps?
Isn't there anything you want?
How about a piece of that bubble gum?
Bullwinkle, that's it.
What's it?
Bubble gum. That's how we'll save Moosylvania.
You putting me on, Rock?
Bubble gum? Boris, what does this mean?
It means Squirrel has finally flipped his goggles. Come, help me with these cartons of butterscotch yogurt.
Meanwhile, Rocky was dumping boxes of bubble gum into the huge cement mixer.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
You won't need one, Bullwinkle. Watch.
And the brainy squirrel zoomed to a large tank of surplus helium left over from the Navy blimp school. In a few minutes, he had fastened the tank to the batch of bubble gum and turned on the valve. Instantly, the bubblegum opened into an enormous helium-filled balloon, which Rocky then fastened to a nearby tree root.
I just wanted one little piece, Rock.
Don't you see, Bullwinkle? These balloons will keep Moosylvania from sinking.
True, in just a little while, Rocky had a dozen of these huge balloons swaying in the breeze. Of course, their upward pull countered the weight of the supplies. The island stopped sinking, and Bullwinkle slowly emerged from the swamp.
Ta-da!
Boris, the squirrel has done it again.
You know, I hate to admit it, Natasha, but he's a pretty smart cookie.
Then why are you lighting the fuse on that dynamite?
Because that's the way the cookie crumbles.
And Boris tossed the dynamite right under our hero's furry tail. Don't miss our next bang-up episode, Moosylvania Mishmash, or A State of Confusion. Well, in our last episode, Rocky saved the island of Moosylvania from sinking by using his brainy little head.
And 46 tons of bubble gum.
Same thing.
But an angry Boris lit the fuse on a stick of dynamite and tossed it right at Rocky.
Quick, back to the submarine, Natasha. You don't want to be hit by flying pieces of flying squirrel.
Calling Boris Badenov. Coming, Badenov.
I'm in, fearless leader booby. You see me toss dynamite at squirrel?
Badenov, you are an incompetent, stupid, disgusting little nincompoop.
Who's little?
If that dynamite goes off on the island, the balloons will collapse, the island will sink, and there will be nothing left for us to steal but acres and acres of goo.
It's just that she's so tall it makes me look... Acres of what?
Goo! Goo!
Natasha, I think fearless leader is in his second childhood.
Boris, he's talking about what the dynamite will do to those sticky balloons.
Yeah, they're... Oh, boy.
And Boris dashed madly away. In a flash, he returned with a sizzling dynamite, which he deposited neatly in a handy, thin trash barrel.
See, you got to have a cool head and nerves of... A thin trash barrel.
Darling, that is not a trash barrel. That is a ventilator on our submarine.
Gee, I could have sworn that was a trash barrel.
Yeah, you're suddenly a dumbhead. Me too.
And while Boris sinks slowly in the west, let's travel east and see how our friends are making out.
Well, I guess those balloons will hold till we can send all this stuff back, Bullwinkle.
Send it back?
Sure. Moosylvania's not really a disaster area. It always looks that way.
But how do we send it back?
Easy. Call your friendly neighborhood moving man. Is me, my card.
Van N Storage. You're a moving man?
Watch.
Yup, he's moving all right.
And you'll return all this stuff for us? How much?
For you, I do it free from charge.
Free?
Boris, you're not going to take the money.
Natasha, if they pay me to steal from them, I lose my amateur standing.
And so it was a short time later that a makeshift barge loaded with a fantastic amount of surplus goodies was headed out to the open sea.
Bullwinkle, here we come.
At that moment, a sinister-looking black submarine surfaced beside them, and out stepped fearless leader himself.
Boris Baby Liebchen.
Liebchen?
When we peddle all this stuff, Spotsylvania will be in the black again. You've saved the country.
You mean I'm a hero?
Absolutely. And so I now give you the Spotsylvanian Order of the Double Cross. Here, catch.
Boris, look out!
Yes, that tiny ounce of metal was just 1 ounce too many. The added weight began to push the enormous barge underwater.
Oh, come on, not twice in one episode.
Boris, darling, throw the metal overboard.
But fearless leader himself gave that to me.
Badenov, you're sinking the whole cargo.
What happens if it sinks?
You get shot.
What happens if I throw away the metal?
You get shot.
Well, at least I got a choice. Now let me see.
Well, the old place is back to subnormal, Rock.
Yeah, and we... Hey, was that a shot?
Heck no, Rock.
Well, it sounded like a shot.
Nope,
Then what was it?
that was the end.
By George, he's got it. It is the end. But watch for another episode soon of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
It may be a little hard to find, but don't give up.
We're not.